Guys, welcome back to Clockwork, Dan to Noodles for another breakdown of Requiem of the Rose King. This is episode 11. Next week is episode 12. Then we should have, I think, a break before we go on to the next 12. This anime continues into the next period. There's 24 episodes. It will continue into spring 2022. If you guys want me to continue breaking this down, let me know in the comments below, because next week I will be bringing to you my end of season review. I crown my top 3 anime of the period, tell you what my hidden gem is, and what I'm continuing and what I'm breaking down next season. There is a lot of new anime coming our way. I'm going to tell you what's going your way, what good things are coming out, things you may be interested in, and what anime I'm breaking down on the channel. Not everything I tell you is coming out, I will be breaking down. I have to select a few, plus my time gets very jumpy around this period of the year. I may be limited to just 3 titles in particular. There is a Discord channel too for notifications to go straight to your phone whenever videos go up. This will allow you to keep track of what's coming out on the channel and when there are delays. I am very sick. I'm trying my hardest to not let it show in the videos, but it's difficult. I'm cutting out a lot of my coughing. I have a sore throat. I don't have COVID. My COVID tests are negative. I have a feeling it's probably my yearly dose of laryngitis. This time we haven't lost my voice, so it's a little bit weaker this time. Or it hasn't got into full swing yet. Hopefully, I try and beat it. I'm doing a lot of the vitamin C, lots of drinking orange juice right now. We will see how it goes. So let's get going to episode 11, because a lot of important things happen this week. There's a lot of changes, end of a monarch, end of a line in a sense, but I think the anime might be doing something very uncanon, and we'll talk about it when we get there. A warrant for Warwick's killer has been issued. If you remember, Buckingham was the one to end Warwick, but disguised as Richard, so it's only going to be time till somebody feeds back to the king. Richard killed Warwick. At the moment, Buckingham is trying his best to protect Richard. He's trying to protect an investment because he sees Richard as an investment to the throne later down the line. He hasn't given up on Richard just yet. Buckingham is a key force this week to pushing the plot forward, because right now Richard's floating somewhere in between. There's not a lot going on. We're buckling down towards a war between Edward and Edward. Buckingham is doing a bit more of the pushing of the twist plot that could emerge a bit later down the line. Buckingham stops Richard from committing suicide. Richard right now is in hell, essentially in conflict. The moment when Richard is told that Richard has died and now he's just atoning for his punishment, he must keep killing for in the name of Daddy Richard. This is a very Shakespearean thing to do. That is a metaphor that the moment Richard found out that the person they loved was in the forest and it was the person they really shouldn't love, Richard died as a character. Now what you're seeing now is Richard but as a empty vessel, just there to kill, there to do what they are told, which I think Buckingham is going to try and use to their advantage. Richard right now is within that forest in their brain, heartbroken because the person they love is the person who killed their father, conflicted right now. Warwick's death finally reaches the ears of Anne and Margaret, where Anne is completely heartbroken that York did not spare her father. Initially, that was the intention. That information isn't going to reach her ears, sadly. We do see Margaret starting to sweat because Warwick served as an anchor to her army. Now her future has become very uncertain. There are a lot of similarities between Elizabeth and Margaret, and Elizabeth being Edward's wife. Very similar because both do not love their husbands. They are fighting for somebody else. Both are tenaciously driven to get their goals. They're both going to make their goals happen. Margaret really does stand strong. She try her best to protect her son as well. She is doing what a mother would do, but she's just sadly wearing the wrong colour rose in this anime. Anne ends up being charged with protecting Edward. Margaret is using manipulation to get Anne to do that. She's pulling on her strings, trying to go, well, he's now in your hands. I'm leaving you this great deal of responsibility, or giving Anne a reason to sacrifice her own life. We are coming to the moment where we have Edward versus Edward. This battle was foretold. It's been a long time coming. We have Margaret leading her side very ferociously. In history, Margaret is seen as a ferocious, tenacious, and very fearsome woman, but they admire her. She's very admired for being this way. Richard taking the back seat mainly this week until a bit later on, because Richard right now is in utter turmoil. Anne ended up providing one of the most OMG twist moments by knocking Edward to the floor. I was really hoping it was just a he's down and out, and not just a I've knocked you and given you blunt force trauma and now I've initiated brain hemorrhaging. He does seem okay, but not that it really helps, because he ends up sadly departing this week. The twists keep on coming and coming this week. Margaret initially had the benefit of having more men. However, you are up against Richard, and Richard seems to have the brain of a computer. And Richard, having the knowledge of the land, sets up a plan. We don't initially get to find out what the plan is, but whatever it is, set up in the forest, whether it be cannons or something, and it ends up going in their favour. Tragedy starts to unfold as Edward ends up waking up and sadly crossing swords with his crush. He does initially have the upper hand, and we do see Richard's sword shattering into pieces. That takes a lot. That really does take a lot to shatter a sword. Don't want to go into the logistics, but Edward got very, very lucky there. But sadly, it's the feelings. Edward's feelings are the one that stops him from winning. Richard doesn't take a moment to hesitate. Richard ends up with the upper hand. Richard does not recognise who Edward actually is. And it's quite scary to think that Edward could have died right here. Richard could have ended up wiping out the Lancasters' claim to the throne without even knowing. So you could imagine if Richard had killed Edward and nobody knew, and not until later they find out that Richard's body is dead on the floor and they realise who they are, that nobody would really actually know who had killed the heir to the throne. In a very non-canon way, Anne ends up as a body double. This is exactly how Margaret planned it because she wanted Anne to sacrifice herself. Margaret ends up captured, but I have to say it is very non-canon. Anne is the wife of Richard. None of this actually occurs. Anne now, if anything, being against her husband in real life. Richard sadly doesn't catch a break this week as yet more heartbreak besieges them. Seeing Anne protecting the enemy, the person that they had to give up on. I know Richard tried to give up on Anne and tried to put her from their mind, but there is still something down there that definitely would hurt. Seeing somebody you did actually love protecting the person that is against you is your own enemy. Margaret ends up standing tall till the very end. We have to hats off to her for really showing no fear, doing anything she can to protect her son. She ends up bragging about the death of Daddy Richard just to try and get their hatred towards her. You will spare my son, you can kill me instead, because Edward is the one that you need alive if you want to even have any chance at taking the throne at some point. Glance into Edward as a child. Quite a cute child, to be fair. Always with those dreams to be a king. So Edward was not going to kneel to anybody. And sadly, those are his last actions. Edward is put to death by the hands of George. To Edward, George is the one who betrayed the Lancasters. You wipe out Edward, you end up wiping out the Lancasters' strength. Don't see how we're going to be progressing here. Edward is ended as well by Richard. Richard comes along to place the final blow, which I guess in a sense is good for Edward because Edward says that his last wish is to die by Richard's hand. Richard's own hate by this point absolutely blinding as they try to go in to kill Margaret as well, but is stopped by King Edward, because the ultimate punishment for someone like Margaret who has lost their son, married to a husband you don't actually love, and the husband is now captured. All of your army is now laying dead around you. All you want is death. The fate worse than death is not being able to die when you want to die the most. Margaret is given a fate worse than death. I don't see how they're going to stop her killing herself though, unless they throw her into the Tower of London and have her handcuffed for the rest of her life. She's going to go and starve herself. She's going to kill herself by her own hand. That is just going to end up in a death of Margaret at some point. So right now, the Lancasters are completely wiped out. This isn't canon. Anne at the moment is a loose canon as well, despite acting non-canon, because she could come back, claim that she's the wife of Edward and she has the son. So if Anne is pregnant, that would be the ultimate twist, because if she gives birth to a son, that is the heir to the throne. That would be the heir to the Lancaster throne if she is pregnant, only if she's pregnant. We don't know if she is right now. At this point, Richard still has no desire to take the throne, and Edward is now the king unrivaled. He has a son, his line is secure. It seems like a pretty much, that's it, done, dusted, parcel, bow on top, the package is sorted. It seems like a done deal. So something has got to give. It seems very unclear where the plot is going to go. We could happily end it next episode and say that's it, King Edward is the king unrivaled. However, that's not how history goes. We need Richard III. Richard III ends up being a king. So how are we going to get Richard on the throne? What is going to happen next? And I have a feeling that Buckingham has got to have a role somehow. I do think they're going to play Anne up and make her pregnant to try and at least give one last huzzah for the Lancasters. Might try and get Anne and Richard married, because initially the end of the War of Roses is drawn to the close by the marrying of the two houses. York and Lancaster come together, and you have the rose that is now used nowadays, the red and white Rose. They are united as one. So how are we going to end the story? Everything seems very up in the air. Let's tune in next week to see what last twists we have before going into the second half of the anime. As intriguing as ever, guys. I hope you are having a good weekend and you are not befallen by tragedy and you are having a happy day and you are deciding if you should be or not to be, hopefully to be. Have a good day, guys. Thank you for tuning in and supporting me. Bye-bye.